What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and today we're going to be going over the statistics that nobody talks about when mentioning Pitbull Cruz versus Romero. Guys, when we break down these statistics, we're going to be categorizing them in overall punch output, total jabs thrown, power shots thrown. We're going to look at the amount of punches landed, talk about the percentages, and we know how the fight ended, but this is a good example how sometimes if you look just at the punch stats, it doesn't always tell the full story. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about the exciting 140-pound division now with Pitbull Cruz defeating Romero and taking his WBA strap. Now we have a list of 140-pound champions, and in my opinion, you probably guys would agree, is that a tournament would sound nice in a perfect world. You got Subriel Matias holding the IBF strap. You got Teofimo Lopez holding the WBO in ring. Devin Haney, WBC, and now Pitbull Cruz with his defeat over Romero is the WBA 140-pound champion. We know Haney's taking on Ryan Garcia here in about 3 weeks. Subriel Matias has been paired with Liam Perro, and Teofimo Lopez is flirting an upcoming fight with a little-known contender. That being said, Romero goes into the fight slight underdog against Pitbull Cruz on the co-main headline of the Tim Tszyu versus Sebastian Fundora fight, and it seemed like from the very get-go, the entire T-Mobile Arena was on Pitbull Cruz's side. That was kind of shocking to me considering Romero is a Las Vegas kid, but boxing fans don't take kindly to a lot of the trash talk, especially if you're not going in there and backing it up. Me personally, I'm a fan of Raleigh. You're not going to hear me bash Raleigh. I kind of get why so many fans don't like him, but at the same time, it confuses me because I think Romero is good for boxing. If you could look past his trash talk, if you see him speak, you kind of know that he's just trying to sell tickets and he's not a bad guy. He seems like a kid with a good heart, but those fans on Saturday night let him have it. Even when he got the microphone after, it was a constant array of boos. The way the ending came, before we break down the stats, Isaac Cruz hurt Romero in the last minute of the first round and again in the last minute of the 7th round. Despite a tape issue giving Romero time to recover in the 8th round, Romero could not keep Cruz off of him, forcing the referee to call off the fight. Cruz held a 51-18 edge in body punches landed and a 50 punch advantage in power punches landed. And that was sort of the tale of the fight. For me, Romero never looked comfortable. He looked like a guy whose feet did not have a foundation. Every time he would circle away, he couldn't get settled because Pitbull Cruz's pressure was relentless. And you know what? Kudos to Pitbull. It was good to see him this style once again. He had a couple lackluster performances, and everybody was kind of waiting for the version that we saw against Tank. And now the sky's the limit. He's still really young. You have a country behind him. You have the adoration of fans, which he was sucking all in after he got the belt. And guys, you have the belt. You put a strap around a young, confident fighter's waist and also add in the confidence that comes with the crowd and the support of the people, you have a different type of fighter. Let's talk a little bit about the write-up of the fight. Here's a little quote from Cruz. "I'm very happy and humbled to win this title for my family and for Mexico," said Pitbull. "I was prepared for this. I wasn't here to just fight. I was here to terminate him. I did my talking right here in the ring, and I did this not just for me, but for everybody that is here at the T-Mobile Arena. There's going to be a Mexican champ at 140 for a long time." And the way this played out, after enduring a lot of pre-fight trash talk from Raleigh, it was Cruz who established his dominance early, connecting with a left hook to the top of the head that wobbled Romero badly in round 1. Although Romero steadied himself and valiantly survived the round, he was never able to shake Cruz with his own power. And that's what the highlights show. If you didn't watch the whole fight, if you just saw the clips that are going viral, 1, Raleigh was on wobbly legs. 2, how did he survive for so many rounds? So that's the true heart of a fighter. These guys aren't going to go out that easily. Here's another quote. "We gave the fans a great fight," said Romero. "Unfortunately, we came up short. I want to thank Pitbull Cruz and all the fans that came out and made this event great. I'll be back training with Ishmael Salas for the first time since early in his career. Romero was able to show enough movement and ring savvy to push the fight into the second half. He also attempted to strategically hold and keep Cruz off of him, but was deducted a point in round 5 for excessively holding. Despite these efforts, he was once again hurt late in round 7, this time from an onslaught to begin with a straight right hand to the head. I fought with the intention to leave the decision out of the judge's hands, said Cruz. Mission accomplished. And guys, this is what I was talking about. The last fight I saw Cruz, he was fighting to not lose. He won a decision. This is the version that the fans love, trying to get his opponent out of there, throwing bombs, being aggressive with his footwork, taking one to give one, and boxing, in my opinion, is in a good spot. Crazy enough, when the fight got stopped, Cruz was up on 2 scorecards, but one of the judges had Romero winning the fight going into that 8th, so that was interesting. And who knows what would have happened if Rolly would have survived until the decision in the 12th. Let's talk about those statistics now. When we look at the total punches thrown and we look at the total jabs thrown and power punches thrown, when you look at output, and this is how I started this video, how you can't always use statistics to tell the whole narrative. Now, Romero threw 341, Cruz threw 354. Similar when you think about the overall output of the fight. Cruz lands 129 to Rolly's 85 total punches. Cruz was landing at a clip of 36%. Rolly was landing at 25%. Where it gets interesting is when you look at the jabs. Now, we know what Cruz wants to do. Cruz isn't going to get in there and set up his jab to lead his rear hand to set up power. He's going to go in there and use his aggression, that peekaboo style, his own version of it per se, to set up his rear hand. So when you look at the jabs, total thrown, Romero 154, Cruz 35. What does that tell you? Cruz was putting on the gas and Romero was trying to poke out his jab to keep him off of him. But guys, if you don't have your feet under you throwing that jab, it's not going to work. And Rolly only landed 14. Pitbull lands 8. Rolly's jab count was 9% versus Pitbull's 22%. But when you look at Pitbull only throwing 35 versus Rolly's 154, that tells an amazing story. Because if Rolly was a great jabber, like if his jab was one of the best in boxing, seeing that statistic 154 to his opponent Cruz's 35, you would think Romero did what he wanted to do. He set up the jab, but no, this is what I'm talking about. He only lands 14. So this is an example of how aggression and head movement can negate a jab game if you believe in your power. And we know one thing about Isaac Pitbull Cruz is he believes in his power. Power punches, great segue to end on. Overall thrown. This is once again why you need your feet to set your power up. Rolly's running the whole time. He only throws 187 versus Cruz 319. If you guys ever boxed or ever messed around in your garage, you know it's tough to sit down on a power shot backing up, and it's much easier to throw that thing moving forward. It's simple physics. Rolly only lands 71 out of 187. Cruz lands 121 out of 319. And my favorite statistic is the body. Romero only lands 11 to the body because he couldn't get in and he couldn't get stable. And the tell of the story is Cruz lands 45 of his 121 power shots landed to Rolly's body. And that's what helped chip him away, crush the body, finish on the head. That's what my boxing coach always would teach me. What do you guys think? There's a cluster of great talent in that 140-pound division, all holding belts. Who do you guys want to see fight? And also, what's next for Rolly Romero? All that, leave it in the comment section below.